Okay, so let's just jump right into it. In a world where basically everything disappears, websites rot, hard drives fail, how do you create something that actually lasts forever? And I'm not just talking about saving a file. I'm talking about an idea, your work, a legacy. How do you make it truly immortal?
Well, let's start with a hard truth, just one number that really frames this whole problem. The average lifespan of a web page, before it either disappears completely or changes so much it's unrecognizable, is just 100 days.
You know, what this really means is that the very foundation of our digital world, the place we trust with our photos, our businesses, our art, is just incredibly fragile. It was never actually designed for permanence. It was built for right now, not for the ages.
So if we can't trust the internet, what's the first logical step? Well, you go offline, right? You try to save the physical file itself to create some kind of tangible artifact that can actually survive all of that digital decay. The experts actually have this fascinating three-tiered strategy for this. It starts with things like decentralized networks, then it moves to really durable cold storage, like these 1,000-year M-disks, and it all ends with these basically apocalypse-proof methods, like storing specialized film in Arctic mines. Seriously.
But, and this is a huge but, just look at the vulnerabilities. Every single one of these methods has a fatal flaw. One needs the power grid to work, another one needs a machine that probably won't even exist in 200 years, and the last one? It can be destroyed by a single stray match. So the conclusion here is pretty clear. Just saving the file is not enough.
And this brings us to this really profound pivot, a completely different way of thinking about legacy. We have to stop thinking about preserving the container, the file, and start thinking about how to make the contents, the idea itself, completely indestructible.
So, what is the most durable storage medium in the entire universe? It's not a disk, it's not a server, it's not some piece of high-tech film. It's the collective human mind.
So the crucial point is this. You stop trying to preserve a file, and instead, you engineer an idea that preserves itself through people. You're not in the business of storage anymore. You're in the business of repetition. Success isn't that the file exists somewhere in a vault. Success is that the idea is being actively practiced out there in the world.
Okay, but how do you actually build one of these things? I mean, how do you engineer a self-replicating idea, a kind of cultural virus that can outlive its creator, its medium, and maybe even the civilization that spawned it?
Well, it really comes down to 4 key engineering principles. First, your idea has to have real-world utility. It has to help someone. Second, it has to be brutally simple, like a fable you tell a child. Third, it has to become an identity that people actually wear. And finally, it has to be tied to a ritual, a repeated physical action. That's what moves an idea from just a thought into a cultural practice.
Now, this whole practice has a name, and it's a field of study that is so controversial, so challenging to our basic ideas of free will, that it was pretty much kicked out of academia. It's called memetics.
So let's just break down the vocabulary really quick. First, you have the meme. And look, forget the funny cat pictures for a second. In this context, a meme is the single core unit of an idea. It's the atom.
Next, memetic. That's the adjective we use to describe an idea's ability to spread. So, just like a gene can be more or less successful at replicating, an idea can have high or low memetic potential. It's literally a measure of its contagiousness.
And finally, we have the memeplex. Now this is where it gets really powerful. A memeplex is basically a team of memes that all work together to protect and reinforce each other. They form a complete, self-defending organism. Think of a philosophy or a religion.
And the core concept here, as you can see, is that memetics borrows its entire framework from evolutionary biology. An idea isn't just a thought. It's treated like a living replicator, just like a gene that's fighting for its own survival.
And this is why academics hated it. See, traditional social sciences, they put humans at the center. We create ideas to serve us. Memetics flips that script completely. It says that ideas are like viruses that infect our minds and use us as hosts to replicate themselves. It completely strips away our agency.
Take the flat Earth theory, for example. Psychology looks at it and focuses on the believer's need for control. Sociology sees it as a community for outcasts. But memetics? It analyzes the idea itself, and it sees a brilliant defense mechanism, trust your own eyes, that basically inoculates its host against any scientific evidence. The idea is simply designed to survive.
So, because memetics was seen as too dangerous and maybe a little dehumanizing for public universities, it didn't just die out, it just went private. It left the public square and entered the world of corporate and political tradecraft.
And this created this fascinating split. You have public science using these fields as a shield to help people, neuroscience to heal brains, psychology to treat addiction, but private science weaponized them as a sword for profit and influence, neuromarketing to hack brains, and behavioral design to literally create addiction.
Okay, so let's move to the final level here and see how this builds far beyond simple marketing. Because what we're talking about now is not about selling a product. It's something much, much bigger than that.
Look at this hierarchy. Marketing at the bottom just seeks a single transaction. Branding, a level up, it wants to build loyalty for a lifetime. But memetics, it's not even playing the same game. Its goal is eternal replication. It doesn't want your loyalty, it wants to install a new reality inside your mind.
And this really is the logical conclusion. When you truly master the science of memetics, you are not creating a customer, you are creating a convert. You're not building a brand, you are building a secular religion.
This is what's called the God Protocol. It's the blueprint for engineering a belief system that can actually achieve immortality. It needs an origin myth, a clear line between what's sacred and what's profane, a high cost of admission to weed people out, and finally, a built-in command to go out and spread the faith.
Which leaves us with one final, pretty provocative thought about the true nature of legacy. If you want something to last forever, maybe the goal isn't just to be remembered, maybe the goal is to be believed.